All right, welcome back. Today, we're getting our hands dirty and digging into what makes a garden really pop. We're going to break it all down into three simple ideas: soil, synergy, and strategy. I'm telling you, if you get these three things right, you are on the fast track to a garden that's not just surviving, but absolutely thriving. So let's dig in.
I mean, this is the big one, isn't it? The ultimate question for anyone who's ever put a seed in the ground. You can follow all the rules, pour your heart and soul into it, and still end up with a garden that just kind of fizzles out. So what's the secret sauce? What's the real difference?
It's funny. A lot of the time, it comes down to a super simple mistake. There's this story of a gardener who got a little overenthusiastic, planted way too much stuff all at once. But here's the kicker. The real problem wasn't how much they planted, it was planting cabbage and cauliflower right next to each other. That one little decision, it led to a totally failed crop. It's just a perfect reminder of how these small choices can have huge ripple effects in the garden.
Okay, so let's start where it all begins, from the ground up, literally. Our first S is soil. And I want you to forget everything you think you know about dirt. This is the bedrock, the absolute foundation for everything you want to grow. This is a really big mind shift, so stick with me here. We usually think of soil as just, well, dirt, an inert thing with stick plants in. But that's not it at all. Healthy soil is a living, breathing ecosystem. It's like a bustling underground city, just teeming with bacteria, fungi, little critters, all of them working 24/7 to create the perfect home for your plants. So what are the plants actually getting from this bustling city? Well, you've probably seen those letters on fertilizer bags, right? NPK. Here's what they actually do. N for nitrogen is all about getting those big, beautiful green leaves. P for phosphorus, that's for strong roots and lots of flowers. And K for potassium, that's kind of the general manager. It helps the plant move water and nutrients around. Getting that balance right is absolutely crucial. But it's not just about those big three. There's another hidden factor that's a total game changer: pH. That's just a fancy way of measuring how acidic or alkaline your soil is. And here's why it matters. pH is like the gatekeeper for nutrients. If it's too high or too low, the gate is locked. The nutrients might be in the soil, but your plants just can't get to them. For most of the veggies we love to grow, that sweet spot is just a little bit acidic, somewhere between 6.0 and 7.0. So you might be thinking, do I need a chemistry set to figure all this out? Nope. How can you tell if your soil is on the right track without any fancy equipment? It's super simple. Look for earthworms. Seriously, if you dig in and you're seeing plenty of them wiggling around, that's an amazing sign. It tells you there's lots of organic matter, the soil can breathe, and the pH is in a good place. They're basically a living report card for your soil's health. All right, foundation, check. We've got our soil in a good place. Now let's move on to our second S, synergy. And this is where things get really cool. We're going to stop looking under the plants and start looking at the relationships between them. This idea is called companion planting, and it is not some new fad. This is ancient wisdom that gardeners have been using for centuries. The core idea is to stop thinking of your garden as just a collection of individual plants. Instead, think of it like a community, a neighborhood. Your job is to be the city planner, putting good neighbors together, plants that actually help each other out. So what does that look like in the real world? Okay, check this out. You plant onions with your cabbage. Why? Because the onion smell helps drive away the pests that just love to munch on cabbage leaves. Or how about dwarf zinnias? They're not just there to look pretty. They're like a landing pad for ladybugs, and ladybugs are the special forces of pest control. And the all-time classic, corn and beans. The beans get a built-in ladder to climb up the corn stalks, and as a thank you, they pull nitrogen from the air and put it back in the soil, which feeds the hungry corn. It's just perfect teamwork. But just like any neighborhood, right? Not everyone gets along, so knowing who to keep separate is just as important. For instance, onions might be great with cabbage, but plant them near beans or peas, and they can actually stop them from growing properly. And then you have your heavy feeders, like potatoes and pumpkins. Put them together, and it's like a constant battle for food. And fennel, well, fennel is that neighbor who doesn't get along with anyone. It's best to just give it its own little corner of the garden. Okay, let's bring it home with our third and final S, strategy. This is all about taking our great soil and our happy plant community and tying it all together. This is the work smarter, not harder part of the equation. I absolutely love this old gardening saying because it is so true. 1 year seeding is 7 years weeding. Think about that for a second. If you let just one weed flower and drop its seeds, you're not fighting one weed next year. You're fighting its hundreds, maybe thousands of babies for years to come. It's all about getting ahead of the problem. So, how do we stay ahead of that weed explosion? 3 simple steps. First, hoe early and often. Don't wait for the weeds to become monsters. Just lightly scrape the surface of the soil when they're tiny little seedlings. Second, use cover crops. You can plant dense, low-growing things like clover that literally shade out the weeds and steal their space. And third, my personal favorite, mulch. A nice, thick layer of straw or wood chips smothers weeds before they can even start, and it helps keep your soil nice and moist. It's a total win-win.
Now, this whole working with nature idea really shines when it comes to pests. You basically have 2 choices. You can go the chemical route, which can create this endless cycle where you kill the bad bugs, but you also kill the good ones, and then you have to spray again. Or you can go the organic route. This isn't about just killing pests. It's about creating a balanced ecosystem by inviting nature's pest control to come in and do the job for you. So who's on this garden security team? Think of them as your personal bodyguards. You've got ladybugs, who are absolute eating machines when it comes to aphids. You've got lacewing larvae. They're another aphid's worst nightmare. On the ground, you have ground beetles, who take care of things like caterpillars. And get this, some plants, like anise, will actually host tiny little predatory wasps that protect the whole area. The goal is to build your own army of good guys.
And there you have it. When you focus on these 3 things, you start to see your garden in a whole new way. It's not just a collection of plants, it's a system, a resilient, productive system that's honestly just a joy to be a part of. So let's just quickly run through the big ideas one more time. First, soil. Build that living foundation. Remember, it's an ecosystem, not just dirt. Second, synergy. Create a community of plants that actually help each other out. And finally, strategy. You want to work with nature, not against it. Use mulch, invite in the good bugs, and let the system work for you. So as we wrap this up, I want you to think about this. Your garden isn't just a project you finish. It's a living system that you get to nurture. So thinking about your own garden, what's the first small step you're going to take to help that system truly thrive? Thanks so much for tuning in.